You won't be joining us on the Miami trip today, Mom. Wei wants his family only. The text from my son Liang hit my phone screen like a punch to the gut. I immediately called the moving company and canceled all remaining payments on their house. The bitter satisfaction of watching their dream collapse would be worth every dime I'd already poured in. If you're watching this, subscribe and tell me where you're tuning in from. Let me rewind and explain how I ended up playing Go while everyone else was playing tic-tac-toe. My name is Mei-Ling Chen, but everyone calls me May. At 72 years old, I thought I'd seen every kind of betrayal possible. I was dead wrong. 3 months earlier, Liang had called me, voice trembling. Mom, we found the perfect house, but we're short on the down payment. Can you help us out just this once? The house was a gorgeous 4-bedroom modern in Miami's best neighborhood with a 2-car garage and a sleek pool, the kind of home I'd always wanted to give my only child. How much do you need, dear? I'd asked, already pulling out my checkbook. After my husband passed 6 years ago, his life insurance left me well off. What was money for, if not to help my family? $80,000 for the down payment. And if you could cover the monthly mortgage until Wei's promotion comes through. Liang's voice had been hopeful, laced with that subtle manipulation kids master young. I wrote the check without a second thought. $80,000 from my savings, plus agreeing to pay their $3,200 monthly mortgage. Think of it as an early inheritance, I told him, brushing aside the nagging feeling I was being used. For 3 months, I sent money religiously, watching my savings shrink while they posted Instagram photos of lavish dinners and shopping sprees. But I stayed silent, convincing myself, family comes first. The Miami trip had been planned for weeks. Liang showed me the resort's website, raving about the all-inclusive package, the yacht tours, the beachfront spa. It'll be amazing to have 3 generations together, he'd said. The kids can't wait to hang out with Grandma. I bought new outfits, got a fresh haircut, even treated myself to a manicure. At 72, still trying to shine for my family, it's almost funny now, but it stung then. That morning, as I packed my suitcase into the car, Liang's text came through. No call, no explanation. Just a cold rejection that cut deeper than a blade. Wei wants his family only. As if I wasn't family. As if the woman who raised Liang for 18 years, paid for his wedding, and was bankrolling their lifestyle, was just some outsider they'd tolerate when it suited them. I sat in my car for 10 minutes, rereading the message, feeling something splinter in my chest. Not fully broken, but cracked enough to let clarity seep in. It showed me how naive I'd been. That's when I made the first call. Hello, this is Mei-Ling Chen. I need to cancel automatic payments to the Zhang account. The mortgage company was surprisingly cooperative once I explained. Yes, Mrs. Chen. We can stop all future payments immediately. But you should know the account is 3 months behind, even with your contributions. 3 months behind. I'd been covering their mortgage every month. Where was my money going? I'm sorry, could you repeat that? The mortgage is $4,200 monthly. You've been paying $3,200, but there's a $1,000 shortfall each month the primary borrowers haven't covered. My hands shook. They'd lied about the mortgage amount, letting me think I was covering it fully while they scrambled for the rest. Except they weren't scrambling. Wei had just bought a new Audi, and Liang's Instagram was flooded with designer watches and high-end sushi nights. I see. Cancel all payments from my account effective immediately. Ma'am, without your contributions, they'll face foreclosure within 60 days. That's not my problem anymore, I said, and meant it. My next call was to my neighbor's daughter, who's a real estate attorney. Hannah, it's Mrs. Chen from next door. I have a hypothetical question about property ownership. Sure, Mrs. Chen. What's up? If someone puts down a big down payment on a house but isn't on the deed, do they have any claim to it? A pause. Was it a gift or a loan? I thought of Liang's promises to pay me back someday while treating my money like it was his birthright. Let's say it was presented as a loan, but never formalized. It's tricky, but if you can prove you made payments expecting repayment or partial ownership, you might have grounds for a lawsuit, especially with texts or emails discussing repayment. Oh, I had texts. 3 months of Liang swearing he'd make it right with interest once Wei's promotion came through. A promotion I now doubted existed. Hana, one more favor. Can you check the property records for 1247 Palmwood Drive? I want the full picture on the mortgage. Sure, Mrs. Chen. Thinking of buying in that area? Something like that. After hanging up, I stared. Obsidian sat at my kitchen table, staring at a pile of thank you notes Liang had sent over the years. Thanks for everything, Mom. You're the best mother in the world. We'd be lost without you. Empty words, cheap and meaningless. My phone buzzed with a text from my 16-year-old grandson, Kai. Grandma, why aren't you coming to Miami? Dad said you were sick, but Mom's acting weird about it. So Liang was lying to the kids too, claiming I was ill instead of admitting his wife had excluded me from a family trip I'd helped fund. The deception ran deeper than I'd realized. I texted back, "Just a change of plans, sweetie. Have fun and take lots of pics." But inside, I was strategizing. If Wei wanted to play the his family only game, she was about to learn that my money was my money. And unlike Wei, I played to win. Hana called back the next morning with news that made my blood boil. "Mrs. Chen, that property has a history. It was bought 3 months ago for $600,000 with a down payment of $120,000. $120,000. Liang said they needed $80,000. The buyers put down exactly $120,000. There's also a second mortgage for $40,000, which explains the higher payments. They'd lied about everything: the down payment amount, the extra loan, probably for the fancy home theater and marble countertops Liang bragged about on social media. "Hana, I want to buy that property." "Buy it? It's already sold." "Not if it goes into foreclosure. How soon could that happen?" A long pause. "Mrs. Chen, are you sure about this? Family and real estate can get messy." "I've never been more certain." The situation was almost poetic. Without my payments, they couldn't afford the house. They'd have to sell fast to avoid foreclosure, and I'd be ready with a cash offer. The same cash that had been draining from my account to fund their luxury life. I spent the afternoon digging. Wei worked in tech sales, his promotion always next quarter. Liang worked part-time at an art gallery, earning just enough to fuel his designer shoe obsession. Without my $3,200 a month, they'd be underwater in weeks. I should have felt guilty, but instead I felt alive, powerful for the first time in years. Around dinner, my phone rang, Liang's number. I let it go to voicemail and listened with grim satisfaction. "Mom, hey, it's me. We just got to the resort. And it's incredible. The kids wanted me to check on you since you're not feeling well. I told them you probably just need rest. We're having dinner on the beach tonight, and tomorrow we're going on a yacht tour. Why booked this amazing boat? Oh, and we might be a day late getting back. Wei wants to extend the trip. Love you." Not a single question about my illness, no concern, just a breezy update from paradise, paid for by my savings. I called Hannah back. "How long before I can make an offer on a foreclosed property?" "Usually 60 to 90 days from the first missed payment. But Mrs. Chen, are you sure about this? It could end your relationship with your son." I thought about Liang's text, cutting me out of a family vacation because I wasn't real family, according to my daughter-in-law. 3 months of lies about the mortgage amount. The casual way they'd burned through my money while treating me like a burden. Hannah, my relationship with my son has been broken for months. I was just too blind to see it. Now I'm protecting my investment. In that case, I'll start the paperwork. But they'll figure out you're behind this eventually. I smiled, feeling a spark reignite inside me, something dormant for months. I'm counting on it. The first missed mortgage payment hit their account on Tuesday. Hannah had set up alerts to track the property, so I knew. Liang called that evening, voice tight with panic. "Mom, there's a mix-up with the bank. They say you canceled the automatic payments." I was arranging lilies from my garden in the kitchen, their white petals sharp against the vase. Everything looked brighter when you weren't being used. "No mix-up, Liang." "What do you mean?" "You agreed to help with the mortgage." "I agreed to cover a $3,200 payment. I found out it's actually $4,200, and you've been short every month for 3 months. I also learned the down payment was $120,000, not $80,000 like you said." Silence stretched so long I thought the call dropped. Then Liang's voice, smaller now. "Mom, I can explain." "Please do. I'm all ears." "We needed extra for closing costs and urgent repairs. We were going to tell you, but you seemed so happy to help." "And Wei thought what? That I was too old to check records? Too desperate for your attention to notice where my money was going?" "It's not like that," Liang said, defensive. "We were shielding you from the stress of the full amount." I nearly laughed. Shielding me from my own generosity by lying, letting me think I was covering the whole mortgage while they scraped by. Except they weren't scraping by. They were buying Audis and designer art. Wei worked hard for that promotion. She deserved a reward. What about what I deserved, Liang? What did I get for handing over $80,000 and committing to payments I could barely sustain? You could afford it. Dad left you plenty. There it was, the entitlement simmering beneath every conversation. In Liang's mind, my money was his, just parked in my account until he wanted it. My security, my retirement, irrelevant next to his desires. Your father left me enough to live comfortably if I'm careful, not to bankroll your dream lifestyle forever. So you're cutting us off? What about the kids? What about family loyalty? What about it, Liang? Where was your loyalty when you excluded me from the Miami trip? When you lied to the kids about why I wasn't there? When you let Wei treat me like a cash machine you were tired of? Another long silence. When Liang spoke, his voice was icy. Wei never called you a cash machine. Then why wasn't I welcome on a family vacation my money helped pay for? It's complicated, Mom. Wei's family dynamics are different. Her parents are super involved, and adding more people would have changed everything. Her parents? The ones who contributed nothing to your house, your lifestyle, or this trip? That's not fair. You're right. None of this is fair, but it's about to get very fair. I hung up before he could reply, feeling lighter than I had in months. No more pretending their behavior was okay. No more excusing their ingratitude. No more funding people who saw me as an obligation with a checkbook. I turned off my phone and tended my garden, humming for the first time since my husband died. Hannah called the next morning with an update. They missed their second payment. The banks started formal proceedings. Also, there's activity on the property. Someone's inquiring about short sale procedures. They're panicking. Good. Panic was what they deserved. I'd spent 3 months in financial dread every time I sent those checks, watching my savings vanish while they lived like emperors. Turnabout was justice. Mrs. Chen, they've hired an attorney. Downtown firm, pricey. They'll likely claim the money was a gift, not a loan. Let them try. I have 3 months of texts from Liang promising repayment with interest once Wei's promotion came through. Plus, my bank records label every payment as a loan to Liang and Wei. Smart. You've been planning this? No, Hannah, I've been documenting it. There's a difference. That afternoon, a process server showed up with legal papers. Liang and Wei were suing me for financial elder abuse, demanding I resume mortgage payments while they resolved the property dispute. I laughed out loud. They claimed I was abusing myself by refusing to give them money. The nerve was staggering. An hour later, my phone rang, a number I didn't know. Mrs. Chen, this is Li Na Wang from Wang and Associates. I represent your son and daughter-in-law. How nice for you, Ms. Wang. There's been a misunderstanding. Your family is asking you to honor your commitment to assist with their mortgage while we work out repayment details. No misunderstanding. I loaned money to people who lied about what they needed and how they used it. When they excluded me from a family event because I wasn't real family, I decided my money wasn't theirs either. That's an emotional reaction to a simple family miscommunication. Emotional. Of course, they'd paint me as the irrational old woman upset over a slight. Ms. Wang, I'm 72, not 7. I don't make financial choices based on feelings. I make them based on respect. Your clients showed me none. Mrs. Chen, if you push this property into foreclosure, you'll ruin your son's credit and your grandchildren's stability. Is that what you want? What I want is for my son to face the consequences of treating people poorly. If that tanks his credit, maybe he should have thought twice before lying to me for 3 months. We're prepared to offer a repayment plan. How generous. Terms? Partial repayment of the down payment over 10 years, plus resumed mortgage support until the property is sold or refinanced. I snorted. So I give them more money, accept a fraction of what's owed over a decade, and they keep the house. What do I get? You maintain your relationship with your family. Ms. Wang, they ended that relationship when they decided I wasn't family enough for their vacation. This lawsuit just makes it official. I hung up and called Hannah. Speed up the foreclosure paperwork. I want to bid the day it's available. You sure, Mrs. Chen? They'll fight dirty. Good thing I learned from the best. The kids returned from Miami 3 days later. My neighbor, Mrs. Kim, said there was a scene in their driveway. Kai and Lila wanted to show me their vacation photos, but Liang and Wei hustled them inside before they could reach my house. An hour later, Kai slipped in through my back door, looking confused and upset. Grandma, Mom said you're sick, but you don't look sick. Are you okay? I invited him in for cookies and milk, just like I did for his dad at that age. I'm perfectly fine, sweetheart. Did you have fun in Miami? It was awesome, but weird. Mom and Dad kept acting off like they were bracing for something bad, Kai said. And Mom was on her phone constantly, which isn't like her on vacation. Smart kid. He'd inherited my knack for reading people, a skill his father seemed to have forgotten. Sometimes adults have complicated problems, honey. Is that why you didn't come? Dad said you were sick, but then he told Mrs. Kim there wasn't enough room at the resort for extra people. Extra people. As if I were some distant acquaintance, not the woman who'd made their trip possible. Your dad and I had a disagreement, Kai. Families go through tough times. Are you and Dad not talking anymore? Like when he and Uncle Jian fought over the business loan? Liang and his brother had clashed for 2 years after Jian refused to co-sign a loan Liang wanted for a failed startup. The irony wasn't lost on me. Liang was now the one demanding control over someone else's money. I hope we'll sort it out eventually, but some things take more than an apology. Dad's been stressed since we got back, and Mom's furious. She keeps mentioning lawyers and unfair stuff. Before I could answer, Wei's voice cut across the yard. Kai, where are you? You're not supposed to bother Grandma when she's unwell." Kai's 16-year-old eyes met mine, sharp with understanding. "You're not sick at all, are you, Grandma?" "No, sweetheart. I'm just tired of being taken advantage of by your parents." Truth from a kid's perspective. That's between us. But I want you to know I love you and Lila dearly. This isn't about you kids. Kai! Wei's voice was closer, sharper. "I should go," Kai said, but he hugged me tightly first. "I love you too, Grandma. I'm sorry for whatever they did." After he left, I sat in my kitchen, replaying the conversation. The kids weren't blind to their parents' lies, the tension, the inconsistencies. How long before Liang and Wei turned them against me, painting me as the villain? My phone rang. Liang's number. "Mom, what did you tell Kai? He's asking about lawyers and money?" I said we had a disagreement, nothing more. "He said you told him you're tired of being taken advantage of. How could you say that to a kid?" "He's 16, Liang, not 6. He's sharp enough to spot when adults lie, just like I finally caught on to you." "We never lied." "Really? So the mortgage isn't $4,200? You didn't take a $40,000 second loan? You didn't tell the kids I was sick instead of admitting Wei banned me from the trip?" Silence. Then softly. "We were trying to protect everyone." "No, Liang. You were protecting yourselves. And now you're learning protection has a cost." Then came the words that shifted everything. "Fine, Mom. If this is how you want it, you'll lose more than money. You'll lose your grandchildren, too." The threat lingered like venom. He was ready to weaponize my grandkids to force my compliance. The same man whose son had just hugged me with love. "Liang," I said quietly, "you just made the biggest mistake of your life." I hung up and called Hannah. "Change of plans. I don't just want to buy the house when it forecloses. I want to crush them. What are my options?" Hannah's response was swift and fierce. "If you want to go all in, we can. First, I'll file a claim against the property for the full $80,000 plus mortgage payments. Second, we can investigate their finances for fraud. If they misled you about their situation to get money, that's criminal." "What kind of investigation?" "Bank records, tax filings, employment verification. If Wei's promotion is a lie or they've hidden assets, we can expose it all." The next morning brought an unexpected visitor. Wei stood on my porch, disheveled and desperate. Gone was the smug woman who'd teased my cooking at family dinners. This Wei was pale, unshaven, radiating panic. "Mrs. Chen, we need to talk." "Our lawyers are handling communication now, Wei." "Please, just 5 minutes. Liang doesn't know I'm here." Against my instincts, I let her in. She sank onto my couch, the same one where she'd once laughed about old people and smartphones while I paid her mortgage. "Look, we screwed up. Liang got carried away with the house, and I didn't stop it. You should have stopped lying to me. We were desperate. My job, the promotion, it's complicated." I stayed silent, letting her squirm. Desperation reveals more than people plan. Truth is, I've been on shaky ground at work for 6 months. The promotion's not happening. They're talking layoffs, and I'm on the list. So Wei's bright future was as fake as their gratitude. Why not tell me the truth? Liang thought you wouldn't help if you knew how bad it was. He said you only respect success, that you'd cut us off if you knew I might lose my job. Liang said that about me. The woman who raised him alone after his father died, working 2 jobs, never letting him feel our struggles. And you believed him. I wanted to believe the promotion was still possible, that we could pay you back with interest like we said. But instead, you spent my money on Audis and vacations while lying about your finances. Wei's face crumpled. The Audi was leased before things went south, and the Miami trip, Liang's parents gifted it for our anniversary. We couldn't cancel without explaining why. More lies on lies. Liang's parents, living off pensions, supposedly funded a $10,000 trip. Wei, every word you say makes this worse. I'm trying to be honest now. You're trying to save yourself. There's a difference. Her eyes were red-rimmed. What do you want? Money? We'll pay you back somehow. An apology? I'll beg if I have to. Just don't ruin our kids' lives. Your kids, not our grandkids, not Liang's kids, your kids. Even now, you can't acknowledge my place in their lives. That's not what I meant. It's exactly what you meant. Just like when you said I wasn't family enough for Miami, you've made my place in this family crystal clear. I stood, ending the conversation. Here's what's happening, Wei. You're going to lose the house. Your credit will be trashed, and everyone in town will know why. Wei's eyes widened. You're really going to destroy us over hurt feelings? I'm destroying you over 3 months of calculated lies, financial manipulation, and emotional abuse. The hurt feelings are just a bonus. After she left, I called Hannah with an update. Wei just admitted her job's at risk and the promotion was a lie. Also, Liang told her I only respect success and would cut them off if I knew the truth. Perfect, Hannah said. That shows premeditated fraud. They misrepresented their situation to get your money. That afternoon, Mrs. Kim, my neighbor, knocked, looking worried. May, I hope it's okay to ask, but there's been odd activity at Liang's house. Moving trucks, people in and out. Everything all right? Moving trucks? They were trying to bolt before the foreclosure hit. What kind? The fancy kind. They've been loading furniture all morning. Liang said it's temporary storage, but she shrugged. It looked like they were packing everything valuable. Classic asset hiding. Move the pricey stuff before creditors could seize it. Thanks, Mrs. Kim, I called Hannah immediately. They're moving assets. Can we stop them? Already on it. I filed an emergency motion this morning to freeze their assets, pending the fraud investigation. If they're caught moving valuables, it's contempt of court. This was getting better by the minute. The next morning, Hannah called with news that made my week. May, you won't believe what the forensic accountant found. Try me. Wei's been unemployed for 2 months. She's been collecting severance and pretending to go to work daily. Liang doesn't know. She's been lying to him, too. It gets better. The Audi payments are 3 months behind, credit cards are maxed, and they took out a $60,000 home equity line of credit against the house without telling you. I sank into my kitchen chair. They'd used my down payment and mortgage contributions to secure more loans on a property I'd essentially bought them. How's that legal? It's not, technically. They committed fraud to get the original mortgage by inflating their income and used your money to hide it. We're talking potential criminal charges, fraud, possibly identity theft, if they forged documents, maybe racketeering if we prove they planned this from the start. My phone buzzed with a text from Liang. Mom, we need to talk. Urgent. I ignored it. An hour later, he appeared at my door with Lila, my 14-year-old granddaughter, as emotional leverage. Hi, Grandma, Lila said, looking puzzled. Dad said you're not feeling well and need cheering up. I'm fine, sweetheart. Your dad and I just need an adult conversation. Liang's jaw tightened. Lila, go play in Grandma's backyard for a bit. After she left, he turned to me, eyes blazing. You called the bank. You froze our accounts. We can't touch our own money. Your money? You mean the money you borrowed against a house I'm paying for? It's our house. We live there. We make the payments. You haven't made a payment in 4 months. I've been covering them, and apparently your secret home equity loan, too. Liang's face paled. How did you... Wei said you didn't know about that. Wei said a lot that's untrue, like how she's been unemployed for 2 months while pretending to go to work. His color drained completely. That's not... She can't be. She leaves every morning, complains about her boss. Call her now, ask where she is. Liang's hands shook as he grabbed his phone. I watched his face shift as he listened to whatever excuse Wei gave. You're at work, right? Your office? A pause. Can you send a picture of your desk? He hung up, staring at me, shattered. She hung up on me. Liang, your wife's been lying to us both. The difference is I figured it out and stopped giving her money. You married her. We can fix this. I'll get a full-time job. We'll pay you back. With what skills? You've worked part-time at a gallery for 20 years while I funded your lifestyle. That's harsh. What's harsh is using your kids to manipulate me. What's harsh is lying about mortgage amounts and down payments. What's harsh is excluding me from family trips while I pay your bills. Lila came back inside, sensing the tension. Is everything okay, Dad? Why are you upset? Liang wiped his eyes quickly. It's fine, honey. Grandma and I are sorting out grown-up stuff. I looked at my granddaughter, 14, and already learning adults lie to protect themselves. Lila, your dad and I are having financial disagreements. It's not your fault, and you don't need to worry. Are you and Dad going to stop talking, like you and Uncle Jian? I hope not. But sometimes adults make tough choices when trust is broken. Liang shot me a sharp look, but I was done shielding him from his actions. Lila deserved to know actions have consequences, even from people you love. After they left, I sat in my living room, feeling a strange emptiness. The victory was everything I'd wanted, but seeing Liang's devastation when he learned Wei's lies hit harder than expected. My phone rang. Hana, voice buzzing with excitement. May, we hit gold. Wei's been filing fraudulent tax returns claiming income from her old job months after she was fired. The IRS is now involved. Satisfaction surged. How much trouble is she in? Federal charges, tax fraud, possibly bankruptcy fraud if they try to file. This could mean serious prison time. I thought of Lila's confused face, Kai's worried questions. Then I remembered Liang's text excluding me from Miami, months of lies, and his threat to keep my grandkids from me. Good, I said. Let it burn. The next week unleashed chaos on Liang and Wei's carefully curated world. Wei's employer confirmed she'd been fired for falsifying expense reports. Her knack for bending the truth wasn't limited to family. The IRS froze their remaining accounts pending investigation, and foreclosure proceedings sped up due to evidence of asset hiding. Liang called daily, swinging between fury and desperation. I stopped picking up, letting his voicemails pile up. Let him feel what it's like to be ignored by someone who's supposed to care. But Thursday morning brought a knock that shifted everything. Kai stood on my porch, school backpack slung over his shoulder, eyes red with tears. Grandma, can I stay with you? Mom and Dad are fighting nonstop. Last night, Mom threw a vase at the wall. I pulled him inside. Of course, sweetheart. Are you okay? Is Lila all right? Lila's at her friend Mia's house. We can't be there right now. I made him tea and let him cry on my shoulder. 16, dealing with his parents' collapse. This wasn't the war I'd wanted to start. Grandma, Dad says you're trying to take our house. Is that true? I chose my words carefully. Your parents asked me for a loan for the house, then lied about how much they needed and what they used it for. When I found out, I stopped giving them money. Now they can't afford the payments. But you could keep helping them, right? You have enough money. The million-dollar question. Could I afford to bankroll their lifestyle forever? Probably. Should I? Kai, if someone lies to you and exploits your generosity, what do you do? He thought for a moment. I'd stop helping them, even if it meant they'd face consequences. Otherwise, they'd keep lying. Smart kid, wiser than his father. Exactly. But this doesn't affect you or Lila. Whatever happens to the house, you'll always have a place with me. His relief was palpable. Really, even if Dad tries to keep us from seeing you. Your dad's scared and angry, but he can't stop you from having a relationship with me forever. You're 16, Lila's 14, old enough to choose who's in your life. That afternoon, Liang stormed over, furious. Where's my son? He's upstairs doing homework. He came here because he's scared of the violence in your house. What violence? Wei was just upset. She threw a vase. In front of your kids, Liang. You don't get the pressure we're under. We're losing everything. You're losing everything because you chose to lie and steal instead of being honest. We never stole. I pulled out the folder Hannah had prepared. You lied about the down payment. Fraud. You lied about the mortgage amount. More fraud. You took a home equity loan using my money as collateral without telling me. Theft. And Wei filed false tax returns claiming income she wasn't earning. Federal fraud. Liang stared at the documents, cycling through shock, denial, anger, then devastation. I didn't know about the tax thing. I thought she was still working. But you knew about the other lies. You knew the down payment was $120,000, not $80,000. You chose to deceive me. We were desperate. We needed help, and thought you wouldn't give it if you knew how bad things were. So instead of trusting me, you manipulated me. And when I found out, instead of apologizing, you threatened to keep my grandkids from me. I was angry. You showed me who you really are, someone who uses his own kids as pawns to get what he wants. Kai appeared at the top of the stairs. Dad, can you stop yelling? This is why I can't be home right now. Liang looked at his son, eyes desperate. Kai, you don't understand what Grandma's doing to our family. I understand you and Mom lied to everyone, including me and Lila. I understand you're losing the house because you can't afford it without Grandma's help. And I understand you're blaming her instead of saying sorry for lying. The silence was heavy. My 16-year-old grandson had laid out the truth clearer than any adult. Liang's face crumpled. How did this go so wrong? It went wrong when you chose lying over honesty, I said softly. And it got worse every time you doubled down instead of owning up. What can I do to fix this? For the first time, Liang was asking, not demanding. Start by being honest with me, your kids, yourself. Stop blaming others and own your choices. I glanced at Kai, watching his father plead. Liang, the time for me to bail you out is over. You're a grown man with kids. Act like it. The foreclosure sale was set for the following Tuesday. Hannah had my cash offer ready, and we were confident I'd be the only serious bidder. No one else would touch a house tangled in legal disputes and potential federal fraud. Then Wei made her last desperate play. Sunday evening, my doorbell rang. I expected Liang, maybe the kids, possibly Wei with one final manipulation. Instead, I faced an older man in a sharp suit, flanked by two younger men radiating lawyer vibes. Mrs. Chen, I'm Feng Wei, senior partner at Wei and Associates. We represent the Zhang family. I thought Li Na Wang was their lawyer. Li Na is my associate and a junior partner. This situation has outgrown her expertise. He wasn't wrong about the escalation. What do you want, Mr. Wei? May we come in? Our offer will interest you. Against my instincts, I let them into my living room. Feng Wei carried the kind of authority that demanded attention, gray-haired, impeccably dressed, exuding the confidence of decades in high-stakes deals. Mrs. Chen, my clients made mistakes, but they're ready to make it right. We're authorized to offer full repayment of all your contributions, plus interest, plus $50,000 for your inconvenience. I nearly laughed. Where are they getting that money? Wei's unemployed and under federal investigation. Feng smiled, a warning in itself. It seems Wei's family was unaware of her financial troubles. Her parents are quite wealthy, and upon learning of this, agreed to settle all debts to protect the family's reputation. Wei's parents, the same ones too, important to make room for me on the Miami trip. Dr. Jianzhang is a renowned cardiovascular surgeon. His wife, Lin, owns thriving real estate ventures. They're mortified by their daughter's actions and want to resolve this discreetly. Something felt off. In 3 years of family events, Wei had portrayed her parents as modest retirees, not wealthy elites dodging scandal. I'll need to verify this independently, Mr. Wei. Of course. They're prepared to meet you in person. They're flying in tomorrow to address this. After they left, I called Hannah. This offer feels wrong. Can you dig into Wei's parents? Already on it. I got suspicious when high-end lawyers started tossing around big money for a fraud case. Give me an hour. 45 minutes later, Hannah called back with news that turned everything upside down. May, brace yourself. Dr. Jian Zhang died 3 years ago. Lin Zhang moved into a care facility 6 months ago with advanced dementia. My stomach dropped. Then who? Wei's been using her deceased father's identity to secure credit. The high-priced lawyers? Paid with funds from accounts she opened, using his social security number and medical credentials, identity theft of her own father. It got worse. The wealthy parent story was a total lie to buy time while Wei illegally liquidates her father's estate. She's been forging her mother's signature on financial documents while she's in memory care. I felt nauseous. The depths of Wei's deceit were staggering. What about the lawyer's offer? Completely fake. The money doesn't exist except what Wei's stolen from her incapacitated mother and dead father. Dear God, Liang doesn't know, does he? From our investigation, no. Wei's kept this charade going for months, maybe years, telling Liang her parents were bailing them out while she stole from her family's estate. I hung up, reeling, and sat in my kitchen. Liang was married to a monster, a woman who'd rob her own dead father and dementia-stricken mother to prop up her lifestyle, using elite lawyers and intricate lies to dodge consequences. But I wasn't done with her yet. Tuesday morning, I sat in the county courthouse waiting for the foreclosure sale. Hannah was beside me with our cashier's check, ready to buy the house that sparked this mess. Liang and Wei weren't there. They'd been arrested the night before on federal fraud charges. But that wasn't the end. That's when the real triumph began. While Wei was frantically siphoning her father's estate, I'd made some calls. Lin Jing's care facility had been puzzled when her payments stopped. They were very interested to learn Wei had been forging her signature while claiming she was traveling abroad. I bought the house for exactly what they owed, $420,000. A steal, considering my $80,000 down payment. The mortgage company was thrilled to get their money. I was thrilled to own a stunning 4-bedroom home in Miami's best neighborhood. The real victory came 3 days later. Liang called from county jail, held as a potential accomplice in Wei's fraud. Mom, please, I didn't know about the identity theft. I thought her parents were helping us. I know you didn't, Liang. That's why I've hired a lawyer for you. You what? You're still my son, and despite everything, I don't want Wei's crimes to destroy you. Silence stretched so long I thought the call dropped. Then Liang's voice. Broken. Why help me after what I did? Because that's what real family does. We don't exclude each other from important moments. We don't threaten to withhold grandkids. We don't lie about needing help. But when someone we love screws up, we don't abandon them either. I'm so sorry, Mom, for the lies, the manipulation, letting Wei treat you like that. I was obsessed with keeping up appearances and lost sight of what mattered. Apology accepted. But Liang, this is your rock bottom. What you do next decides if you grow or repeat these mistakes. What happens now? You face whatever sentence you get for your role. You get therapy to figure out how this happened. You rebuild your bond with your kids through honesty, not manipulation. And you never take advantage of people who love you again. And us? Our relationship? I looked out at the pool of my new home, Liang and Wei's former dream house, where Kai and Lila now spent their afternoons. They lived with me now, at least until Liang got back on his feet, thriving without their parents' lies and chaos. We'll see, Liang. Trust is like a fractured bone. It can heal, but it's never the same. You'll have to earn it back. I will, Mom. I swear 6 months later, Liang got 18 months in minimum security prison. Wei was sentenced to 7 years in federal prison for identity theft, tax fraud, and elder abuse. The house Wei bought with stolen money? I'm living in it comfortably, thank you. Kai and Lila visit Liang every weekend. They're excelling in school, free from their parents' financial disasters. Kai joined the debate team. Lila made the honor roll. As for me, I am 72, living in a gorgeous house I own outright, with a solid bank account and 2 grandkids who know how much I love them. I've even started dating a kind widower from the community center who admires how I protect my family. Liang was right about one thing. Family should care for each other. He just got the direction wrong. It was never my job to fund his fantasy life. It was his to earn my generosity with love, respect, and honesty. That text that started it all. You won't be joining us on the Miami trip today. Wei wants her family only, is framed in my kitchen. A reminder that sometimes the worst thing people do is reveal who they truly are. And sometimes the best revenge is refusing to be used anymore. I hope you enjoyed my story of how I flipped the script on a son who forgot respect is a two-way street. The house is beautiful, by the way. The pool's perfect for hosting my real family. Those who love me for me, not what I can give them.